Good morning. I always feel like I'm looking sideways. All right. Good morning. Good morning. I always feel like I'm looking sideways. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to day 2 of the Prosperity Plan. We are using the Abundance Book by John Randolph Price. You can order it through the links in my Facebook, my Instagram. I think it's a great book for anyone to have, and this is the Abundance Book. I've been doing this. This is my 4th year. I'm not going to do an intro every time I come on, because as time goes on, if you're consistently here, it's because you're already involved in the book. Last night on Clubhouse was great. It was great. I see those. I was saying, I see those as my open office hours. So it was a time for people to ask questions, to maybe listen in and get more clarity around the prosperity plan, how it works, the best way to do it. I talked a bit about my results with it. I'll probably do that more there than I will on the live stream, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on a live stream talking about me. I really want to spend more time teaching and really diving into the book. But in the Clubhouse rooms, I'm going to do another one at 9:30 p.m. Eastern this evening, and I will try to do them as often as possible. That's the time to come in and ask me all kinds of questions. And how did this work for you? And what do you think is the best way for this or that, the other? Chances are I'm going to tell you, though, that you know, because I really believe that internally we already know what we need to do. And sometimes we're just looking for someone else to give us confirmation. But I believe in the divine in you to lead you in this process. Okay. So this is day 2. I will read the statement. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. So a question came up in the Clubhouse room last night. Someone asked about surrendering and knowing when to surrender, especially when you have like real life bills, you have real life needs that are requiring this paper money. And how do you move from this space of, I gotta pay this bill, to surrendering to the process and knowing that it's going to be taken care of. And I spoke about the things that I did and what worked for me. But I will tell you that day 2 statement was a really difficult one for me to embody. This work of understanding that you are divine presence I am, that you are walking abundance, is embodiment work. This isn't mental work. One of the reasons why you write the saying, you write the statement, you write it at least once. I've done it where I've written it more than once. You write it at least once is because this is embodiment work. You will not fully grasp the concept of abundance and your wealth up here in your head. It's not an intellectual pursuit. Though this society that we live in will have you thinking that it's about hard work and intellect. This is a spiritual journey. And so day 2, that says, let me go back, because I'm just being honest, this was a really, really rough one for me. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. I mean, like the first time I read it, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna try that. Because in my mind, the source and substance of all my good was my paycheck, my W-2, my employer, whoever I was trying to get money from, the number of clients I had, the money goals I had set, the business courses I had done with my ideal client avatar, and all that stuff. All that paper and that knowledge, that was the source and substance of all my good. At least that's what I've been given. That's what I thought. And so for me to, and this is one of the other statements, for me to put my faith in my money, in my abundance, in my prosperity, in something that I could not necessarily see, touch, feel, I couldn't use my physical senses, I was like, nah, man. My body rejected the statement. And I was very frustrated by that because I really wanted to believe it. So when I read it this morning, the first time I read it, and when I do it myself, I will read it 3 times. I believe in the power of 3, the Trinity. So I will generally read something 3 times. If I'm writing something down and I really needed to stick, I'll write it 3 times, or I'll write it 6 or 9 times. When I read it this morning, the first time I read it, I was like, the second part of it, I completely, I could feel my body relax. The first part of it was I lift up my mind to know and to understand, I was like, but when it got to the divine presence, I am is the source and substance of all my good, my body was like, okay, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that was a huge shift for me on the first reading of it, to at least get that second part landing in my body. And this, I will keep repeating this throughout the course of this. This is embodiment work. Rewiring and reframing and rechanging the brain, which is part of what doing this for 40 days is. It cannot just be mental. It is really, and the reason why I say this is because I want you, when you're reading the statements, to see how your body feels. You'll know if it's resonating with you based on how your body feels. So for example, if you're reading one of the statements and you start to feel tightness in your chest, there's resistance. Throat, there's resistance. If you feel a little bit of a headache, there's resistance. If you feel knots in your stomach, or it starts to feel a little bit like that feeling you get when you're afraid, there's resistance. I want you to become aware of how your body is reacting, because that's how you can tell if a statement is really feeling true to you. And when it feels true to you, it's going to click, and that's how your life will change. It's a 2-parter, because we are spiritual and we are human, and we are bringing the 2 together. And if this is why perhaps some of your affirmations and all of those things haven't been working, it's because you don't feel it in your body. You're staring in the mirror, or you're looking at a card and you're just repeating some words, but they don't mean shit to you. You think that if you keep repeating them, it will somehow mean something to you. But if there's resistance in your body to it, there's a part of you that's just like, no, we absolutely don't believe this. And so maybe what'll happen is you get a half or a piece or a little bit of what it is that you're looking for, but you won't get the whole thing, because you're not in alignment. And alignment is to bring your spiritual awareness in alignment with your human body, ego, self. So that first statement yesterday is that you are basically the walking embodiment of abundance. If that hasn't landed in your body yet, and that's why we repeat the statements. We repeat the statements. If that hasn't landed in your body yet, it's okay. This is, especially if this is your first time doing it, you're noticing where your disconnect is between you and source energy. God, Allah, Yahweh, the creator, the great potato, right? You are noticing the disconnect because your body is the antenna that shows you where you're really fusing between that understanding that, yes, I am walking divinity. Yes, I am walking abundance. Yes, I am that I am. And when you can embody that, the abundance really flows. So this is actually a great opportunity because the embodiment of this isn't just for this, it's for anything. When someone asks you, so simple, hey, do you want to hang out? And you might automatically just be like, yeah, sure. But it's like resistance. This is how we begin to invite our intuition to come online. The knowing, the Gnostic, the body is part of that. The goal of our being here isn't to be so spiritual that we elevate and forget the body. That's what happens when you die, right? That's when that happens. The goal of being here is to bring that into this, not that way, into this existence, into this body, to create this heaven here in this existence. Heaven is already, it already exists. That love space already exists. You don't have to worry about that. But you have to draw it down into you. So notice when, and if you haven't ever really paid attention to your body, and I'm going to tie this into sex, because it's me. When you are in the presence of someone who you feel an attraction to, your nervous system starts bubbling and all of the neurotransmitters are doing a thing. I'm breaking it down this way because I want y'all to get it, because some of you think it's like, ooh, it's his cologne. No, these are all formulated. Those things are formulated to cause a reaction in you, to have you override your intuition and maybe think, yes, specifically for the women, yes, I need me that dick right there. Now, then there's a part of you that's like, we know that one is not to be fucked with. But we override, or we're not paying attention, or we're so disconnected from our pussy that we can't really feel the resistance that's actually happening. Then we have sex and we're like, how come I'm not wet? I mean, he smells so good. He's got a beard, whatever it is y'all are looking for, right? I don't have a type of, he's got a beard. He was wearing the gray sweatpants, all the things, right? But your pussy's not wet because your pussy's like, girl, we ain't not supposed to be here. We don't want nothing to do with this dude. When you do more embodiment work and when you are more conscious of your connection between your pussy, your heart, your spiritual self, your crown chakra, and you're more in alignment, when something is and isn't for you, and it's very clear, and you're not questioning and wondering and running off to get readings from 7 different people to tell you what it is you're supposed to do. You're not doing divination. Is great. I love it. I do it as well as additional confirmation, not because I'm looking for the answers, because you already have the answers. When you're embodied, you're very clear. Your antenna is clear. So as you're going through the statements in this book, I invite you to pay attention. And this is if you've not done this type of work before. And I should mention, I do have a 3-hour workshop coming up in October that is designed to assist you in becoming more embodied, into reading your body, into understanding it from a sensual perspective, of course. But what I invite you to do is to at least pay attention to how your body feels when you write or read. And I encourage you to do both, write and read. Write the statements. I encourage you to read the statements. I encourage you to read them out loud so you can hear how it sounds to your body. And then you can know and then journal about that. You know, I did statement 2 today. And when I read that, you know, I know that the divine I am is the source of all my good. There's a part of me that just can't believe that. I mean, and I know I grew up with this have faith thing, but I honestly really don't have faith, because once you start to acknowledge that piece, now you can get to the depth of healing. Healing isn't like, let me do the surface shit and then kind of go above it. Healing is going down deep in to be like, oh, I thought this was me. I thought I had faith. I thought I had trust, but you know what? I really don't. I don't believe in none of it. I don't trust me. Wow. Now let me work on that. Now let me see how I can find that space of trust and faith. So it's okay if you're reading these statements and you're like, that's some bullshit. Because it's the start, because we're going to do them again. Each statement gets read 4 times. We're just running through the first set of 10, and we go back and do it again. We go back and do it again. We go back and do it again. And to me, feel free to go back. I don't suggest reading ahead, but to me, feel free to go back. So if you want to read statement 1 on day 1, do that. If you want to get to statement 2 on day 2 and you want to read day 2, but it helps you to kind of go back and read day 1 and day 2, do that. And by the time we get to statement 10, you've read statements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now statement 10. If you're feeling like you just can't grasp this, that you've been so entrenched in learning, because we all have, that the source and substance of your abundance and your money is your job, is your W-2, is your pay stub, is your bi-monthly, bi-weekly paycheck, and you did this to try to figure out how you can make that stretch, I highly encourage you to maybe reread each statement so that it can help it to land for you. And I think maybe later in the clubhouse room or tomorrow, I will give a few embodiment exercises that can be done to help, kind of gel this, move it around in the body a bit, so that it's not so intellectual, so that it starts to get into the heart, into the genitalia, and then it really sticks. Okay, so that's it. This is statement 2, day 2. Got 38 more days. You here? You ready? You with this? 38 more days. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good, all my good, everything. See how this goes beyond money. People come into this work and they really want to, get money, but it's going to affect your life in so many other ways, because you cannot create abundance in one area only. It's kind of like working on one body part. It's all interconnected. It's all woven together. All right, so that's day 2. Replay will be up on YouTube. Replay will be up on IG, and replay will also be on my podcast. So you have the opportunity to listen on the go in a variety of ways. If you do not catch the live stream on Facebook, I am committed to doing this for 40 days to be here with you, so you can also, be as committed as you can be to doing this for 40 days. And if you drop off, it's okay. Pick it up when you're ready. The videos will be there for you. That's why they're there for you. On YouTube, you can actually go back and find the ones I did for 2020 as well. Because each time I do it, it's kind of different. Okay. All right. I will see you back here tomorrow morning. Love you all. Bye.